What up, peeps? Tony Baker here, back with another movie review. This time I'm reviewing something you can stream on Netflix. You ain't even got to go to the movie theater if you don't want to. Cause I know a lot of y'all. You like, I get around to going to the movies. It's so expensive now. You gotta get the snacks. It's too many trailers going on. I don't like sitting around. There's always something with y'all, man. Meanwhile, the movie theaters are struggling because y'all don't want to bring your asses out. I mean, if something big enough comes out, like Wicked Part 2 or Zootopia 2 comes out, y'all be like, oh, they be making all the money then. But the other stuff, the other good movies in between, y'all be like, man, we gonna wait for streaming, man. Take your asses out to the movie theater, man. I know it's pricey, but find a cheap day, because most theaters have a little discount day, or hit up a matinee when it's a little bit cheaper. Y'all can make it. Let me tell you something. When people, human beings, really want to do something, they do it. That's what I've noticed about adults. Excuses be damned. They gonna do it. Anyway, I said all that to say Frankenstein. The latest iteration of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is upon us by Guillermo del Toro. He's a really good filmmaker. Like, even before he got all prestige and stuff and, like, serious and, like, awards McGee. Like, ever since he did Pan's Labyrinth, he'd be like, ooh, Guillermo del Toro or something. The Shape of Water. You know what I'm saying? They got serious. Because before that, he did, like, this movie. He directed this movie called The Relic with Tom Sizemore, about this creature that was killing people at this museum in the city. And then he did Blade 2. That's when I really paid attention to his name. Because Blade 2 I was excited about. So I was like, well, who's directing it? Because Stephen Norrington wasn't directing it again. So I was like, who's this guy to bring it in? And then it was Guillermo del Toro. Then he did Hellboy and Hellboy 2. And it was like, ooh, Hellboy was a good time. Those are slept on. Especially Hellboy 2 is actually really good. But it got overshadowed by The Dark Knight the next week. Can you imagine your little movie that could? Your little movie that could. You was a sequel to a movie that just did okay at the box office, but it was good. It was good character-driven stuff. And then you come out with a quality sequel. And then The Dark Knight comes out the next week. Just swallowed Hellboy 2 whole. Because that's the same. You're dealing with the same audience. Like, comic book people's like, oh, I gotta go see Batman. But Hellboy too, yeah, Batman though. The Joker, Batman, they had to make a decision. So it got overlooked. Anyway, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is, if you're not familiar, let me break it down for you. You should already know it. Frankenstein is a 2025 American Gothic science fiction film produced, written, and directed by Guillermo del Toro, based on the 1818 novel by Mary Shelley. The film stars Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein and Jacob Elordi as the creature, with Mia Goth and Christoph Waltz in supporting roles. The story follows the life of Frankenstein, an egotistical scientist whose experiment in creating new life results ends up in dangerous consequences. We know the story. You know what I'm saying? And there's been several film and TV adaptations of Frankenstein. I remember growing up, I thought Frankenstein was the monster's name. I thought he was Frankenstein. Because when you look at Frankenstein, like the old school flat top with the new scalp laid in and it's flat, and he had the little scar right here, and he had the blazer on. Why they put him in the blazer? He had the blazer on and the thick shoes. It was like, and he was grunting. That was my introduction to Frankenstein. He had the bolts right here, and just, and then the bride of Frankenstein, she had that cool ass hair, and she was like, oh, and it was like, yo, classic films. But I was like, yo, Frankenstein. But then when you get old, you be like, oh, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein? Oh, so Frankenstein was the doctor. Oh, he was the guy. Victor Frankenstein. Got you. So he's the creature. He ain't really have a good quality name because Victor Frankenstein is trash. Okay? When you step back and you look away from the monster, who, was he really a monster? You know what I'm saying? His creator abandoned him, was ashamed of him. He created him. It's like I was saying on my podcast, Verbal Cardio. Our kids don't ask to be born. The creature didn't ask to be created. He made him up of several dead pieces of other humans. You create this creature because your mind can't rest. And in this film, he wants to prove his father wrong about him. And, he has something to prove to him. Just be like, nah, Dad, I can do this. I'm a good scientist. And you shunned me for my little brother. And, you let Mom die. I think you sacrificed Mom for my little brother. So he had all this pent up aggression. And he was just like hell bent on creating life from dead tissue and bringing life back. And I could do it just because you said I couldn't. But he's very, very selfish. And he creates this creature that didn't ask to be here. And now you try to kill it and abandon it. And it's just like, it doesn't know any better. You know what I'm saying? And so this iteration of it, there's some changes from the source material. In the source material, Victor Frankenstein was still a selfish guy, but he was in love with his adoptive sister. As they grew up together, he's engaged to her. I was like, whoa. I mean, technically they're not related, so I guess, but it's just like, it's just like we're not technically related. We know each other well, so I get it, but you're walking a thin line. And so in the book, the monster was more cruel than in this version of Frankenstein. The monster was like, all right, you playing me, Pops? I'm gonna kill your little brother, your fiance, your best friend. You can't make me a bride. Like, I just want you to make me a wife. And we'll go to South America and leave you alone. Victor Frankenstein was like, I ain't doing shit. He was creating it and then he just backed out. And this is the original Mary Shelley book. And so they just go on this quest of just like, and Victor was just bitter at the monster that he created and just like, I'm gonna kill this monster. You killed everything I love. When you created me to just be out here with nobody. And that whole dynamic, because Victor Frankenstein is the real monster. You know what I'm saying? And so in this iteration of it, it's actually a little bit lighter in tone. The creature in this version of it is a lot more sympathetic. And growing up, when you see Frankenstein's monster, he was just like, oh, he would grunt, he would talk real basic. But in the book, he learned to be very eloquent and poetic in the way he talked, and like they kind of follow that here when he learns to talk, when he hides out with that family, and he learns how to put the words together and say stuff more than Victor, because when he was first created, he was just like Victor, and he was kind of like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. He was like, I am Groot, and he just kept saying Victor, 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 Victor. It was all kind of different inflections of Victor. That's all he knew. So when shit goes bad and he tries to kill him and get rid of him, and Victor in this one, he's trash in this. He falls in love with his brother's fiance, for one, trying to woo her. Like, yo, that's your brother's girl. He's like, man, me. And then he creates this creature, and he's mean to the creature, and then he finds out that the creature and the girl he's in love with, they form a little bond. So he's just like, oh, I'm dead in all of this. And so the creature's like, oh, you tried to, you know what I'm saying? You tried to kill me. So the monster has valid beef with Victor Frankenstein. Like, you tried to kill me. And so it's just very poetic and beautiful and tragic. And it's just like, you really feel for the monster. And it just it's a great performance by Oscar Isaac. Great performance from the creature. And just a good cat. Christoph Waltz, he's going to deliver. He's the arms dealer that's backing the research of Victor Frankenstein, but he has his own ulterior motives as to why he wants him to do it. You find out later on. I'm not going to reveal that here. This is not a spoiler review. So you get Oscar Isaac's motivations. You get the beef of the monster, if you want to call him that. I'll just call him the creation, because, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't really a monster, man. He came out, of course he's super strong and he can rip your jaw off, and he had to do it. He had to do it to somebody. He ripped somebody's jaw off. But you know what I'm saying? Self-defense. It was self-defense. You know what I'm saying? If your jaw get ripped off, somebody was just defending themselves, that was on you. You was aggressive. And, the creature was just like, oops, rip that jaw clean off. And I was just like, All right. So you really feel for the monster, and you just see it from Victor Frankenstein's point of view, the creation's point of view, and I really feel like they created a world that I was immersed in, like the visuals, the performances, the vibe, the motivation, the origin stories, the reason for people's actions. And it was very compelling. I feel like Guillermo did a great job. This movie, it feels more optimistic than the original source material. So the changes that he made, and I looked up what some of the changes were. I was like, all right, it's a lighter film than the book actually. I wasn't mad at that. I was just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? It was a good watch. I was compelled from beginning to end. I really feel like I'm kind of mad they didn't release it in theaters fully. Like, I feel like this was a good theatrical movie that could have been released, but you know what I'm saying? Streaming once again. Forget all that. You want to know the smooth jazz review of Frankenstein? Well, here it is. Oh yeah. I'm giving Frankenstein. I'm giving it 4.5 saxophones out of 5. I really don't have a lot of bad things to say about it. I was compelled. I was into it. I like the story arc. And the Frankenstein story has just always been like a dope one. And just seeing the processes into how he got the creature made and, everything that was going into it. And then the switch up was just like, man, and then you're on the creature's side and you're just like, I get it, creature, rip that man's jaw off. I feel you, dog. It was just, and it was well cast, visually stunning. Yeah, man. So then I got to thinking, I was like, it's got to be uncomfortable hanging out with somebody that was created from dead body parts, and then they're super strong, and then you kind of hanging out with them, and you don't know if they can control their temper correctly. And then, what if it's game night? You know what I'm saying? And you hit the creature with a draw 4, and he's just like, ugh! And then he rips your arm off. Cause he tired of you hitting him with the business cards. You done hit me with the draw 2, the reverse, and the draw 4. Yarg! And then he rips your arm off and beats you with it because, his anger might not be in check. That's what I would worry about if I created a creature. Is your anger in check? Because you got to put your creature to the test, put him under, high stressful situations just to make sure he's not going to rip somebody's jaw off. All right, peeps, that's my review of Frankenstein 2025. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comment section below. It's on Netflix, so you can just queue it right up and watch it. Spread it out if you need to. It's long. It didn't feel too long for me. I was cooking, I was watching it, I was on my Peloton, I was multitasking, but I was taking in the movie in full, and it was a good watch. And let me know, what are some of your other movie or TV versions of Frankenstein that stand out to you? I remember Mary Shelley's Frankenstein that Kenneth Branagh did. Robert De Niro was the actual creature. The critics didn't like that one, but I did. I was like, I kind of rocked with it. And then I think there was a Victor Frankenstein movie that came out not that long ago. And then you got the OG ones, Frankenstein. Then you got the Bride of Frankenstein. So then you got Frankenstein monster showing up in the Monster Squad. I don't know if y'all remember that movie from the 80s. But let me know, what are some of your favorite iterations of Frankenstein? Do you like the Monsters, the family sitcom? I used to love the Monsters growing up. But let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, we out here.